gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
So what are your impressions of Valhalla, just for folks that have not seen it on TV or didn't watch the Ryder Cups or past majors? You know, they see a PGA maybe at a Southern Hills or a Bet Page or, whatever it may be. And they're like, Valhalla and Louisville, Kentucky. But like, look at the tournaments produced and it's insane. Yeah. It really has. And obviously, of course, I'm a bias toward it.
Only on SportsGrid.
Draisaitl could easily, at plus money, get the first goal, the second goal, the fourth goal. There's a few guys here. Maybe the prop betting market is not a bad way to look here.
Clippers over the Mavericks. If I would have told you that score before the game, knowing that Kawhi Leonard wasn't playing, I would have really figured it would have been the other way around. But the NBA is just crazy.
In-game live, all access, only on SportsGrid.
DraftKings making a progressive move, I think, that most other companies are also going to do or have done in the past. Adding someone from the government or someone you would say in legislation to become their responsible gaming leader here. And in this case, her name is Lori Kalani.
And it'll be interesting to see if other companies try to follow suit in terms of hiring former lobbyists to head responsible gaming.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome in-game live, and we are PrimeTime on this Monday. Joe Raineri alongside Dave Sharapan here as we are getting ready for actually a pretty big night of action here, not only in the NBA, as we're a couple of minutes away from the opening tip. Game number 4 between the Celtics and the Pacers, and then coming up bottom of the hour, of course, the puck will drop in Edmonton as that is all of a sudden tightened up a little bit. One game apiece there. The Dallas team trying to do what their cohorts in the NBA did last night, win another game, take another step closer to a finals appearance. So we've got a couple of baseball games still to come here. I mean, all in all, on a holiday Monday, Dave, not a bad card here tonight as folks get to sit back, have a little barbecue, say a little thanks to the fine men and women serving and protecting our freedom here around the world, those that have given the ultimate sacrifice. Not a bad Memorial Day evening here. A good way to spend it here watching these games.
Not at all, sir. Good to see you. Yeah, this is one of those days that, like, you're either at a cookout or you're cooking out yourself and you have people over, and then, you remember why and remember and honor the people that, made it possible for all of us to be able to do stuff like this and have a day like this. For years, I was off on Mondays, so I was able to enjoy it from a sports perspective. And knowing we were doing the show, I'm like, all right, we got Celtics Pacers. I figured, listen, you can't beat them, join them. I broke out the Celtics stuff. Just end it. I mean, right now, there's the money line. You got it, and it's got to end, Joe. The way the last couple games have ended, the Pacers have had the games. It looked like they were going to win, covered the spread. That's great, but you can make an argument they should be up 2-1. So tonight, I think spread-wise, you probably end up taking them again, but at some point in the game, you'll be able to take them plus 12. So we got that. We got a great hockey game after a great hockey game yesterday. We got Edmonton and the Stars tonight. So I couldn't decide again. I said, all right, maybe we'll wear the Edmonton stuff. Maybe we'll wear the Stars stuff. I said, I'll wear the Celtics green. It's easier. But this line's a lot different, right? We got a almost a pick 'em And like you were saying before we started the show, Joe, there was no movement on this. Have you heard any buzz about this game?
Zero. That's why I'm shocked. I mean, I thought maybe we might get a little push on the total here, but for the most part, nothing. I mean, what you see is what you get, and it's what we've had all day. It's really the basketball game that has kind of been all over the map, anywhere from 7 to 8, back to 7.5. A lot of question marks about who would be playing tonight for the Celtics. There was big reports early on that Porzingis might actually get a couple of minutes here tonight. Holiday was listed as questionable, but he's going now. So I don't think anybody thought Halliburton would be going here one way or the other with the hamstring pull. But, I mean, the bottom line is, and you nailed it there, Dave, we got an Indiana team that should literally be up 2-1 in this series, and one of those games would have included not having Halliburton like tonight's is. But history does not look kind upon teams like Indiana in this spot, who are at home as a dog with a chance of being swept. History tells us the Celtics will probably finish business and do it rather easily here tonight. But that's why they play the game after all is said and done. But this total has certainly been all over the map as well. You'd be hard pressed getting me to sweat an under in this game here tonight, Dave.
No desire to do that, Joe. As much as I enjoy hanging out here with you and everybody watching all over, I'd rather start with the over in this one and let it go up, right? And then try to find the top, and maybe we'll play it back for the middle. It's been successful in the other series, where you start with the over and go up. 223.5. I don't know. I mean, you're watching the games. They're entertaining. They're very entertaining, which leads to over bets. So the books have been wrong. It's 6 for 6. The totals have gone over all 6 NBA conference finals games. So, and they're not adjusting the number, Joe. Like I don't understand it. I'd make it like let's put it at 227. See if someone will continue to maybe start with the under. So I'm with you. What about props?
I don't get it.
Did you look at anything particularly? Like this is Jaylen Brown's having a hell of a series, but he's having a hell of a series and been that guy. But this might be Tatum's night to do something, right?
It usually is 5-0 in closeout series games with Tatum, and he is usually the guy that takes the ball and ends it for the other team when they have a chance of closing out. His record is impeccable when it comes to situations like tonight. But quite honestly, I just don't see anything different in this game than what we got in the last game. I think Nembhard is going to get a million shots. His total prop of 16.5 points is ridiculously low. He's going to be at least 20 points here tonight. For simply having the volume, they're going to let him do exactly what he did in the last game. McConnell, same thing. He's going to get a ton of minutes. Siakam, ton of minutes. I mean, all of these guys, everything that we just watched transpire is going to happen again. The only question is whether or not the Celtics are going to continue to shoot 34% from three, or are they going to have one of those nights where they shoot 40 or more? And if they do hit 40% or more tonight from three, this game will be over by the third quarter. So either way, none of that spells under to me here, Dave. None of it.
Just got a text from one of my guys in one of the books at a different place, but I call him BB. That's his initials. He said he needs the under. Surprise, surprise. And he needs Edmonton for body parts. When a guy sends you a text in the business that he needs a side for body parts, I mean, that's a lot. And that's what this guy does. So can everybody be right again, Joe?
Well, the books ain't moving it. So somebody's got to be right. But the books haven't been right to this particular point. leading to a whole lot of question marks on what guys should do here. But if I'm Indiana, there's not a lot of adjustments they can make. So what you see with Indiana is what you get. Indiana has dictated pace in this series. I don't see how they don't dictate pace again. They're not shooting a ton of threes, Dave. So really this is all going to be dependent on, can they shoot well enough from inside the paint, inside two? Can they get enough of those shots again to fall in and force Boston to have to keep going and shooting points? If they don't shoot well tonight, well, then we could be having a totally different discussion. But we have not seen this Indiana Pacers team do anything but average nearly, 117 points in the first half of games. I think the first half is where you back Indiana. If you're looking to back them, do it early, because this game could be over by the time we reach the fourth quarter here. If those threes for Boston, who are not going to change the volume, they're still going to shoot 45 threes in this game. The only difference is if they make a significant portion of them, and they haven't done that yet necessarily, this could get ugly rather quickly. Either way, give me everything over in the first half, and then we'll look for a spot in game to pick a winner, because I do think you can get the Celtics at a better price than you can right now. We'll have more on this game, plus the NHL. We'll do that next here as In-Game Live Primetime continues on the Grid.
We salute the brave and courageous women and men serving in the United States military, protecting our freedom. Please take time this Memorial Day weekend to honor the memory and sacrifice of our military veterans and their loving families, and those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in their service to our nation.
How fragile are these guys? It's amazing. They're supposed to be the greatest athletes in the world, and yet they can't walk and chew gum at the same time without getting hurt, for goodness sakes.
That Trout injury really is a bummer, too, because people thought he was going to have a big year. And I look, I don't feel bad for the Angels. I don't like Mike Trout in Anaheim. I thought he should have left when his contract was up.
In-Game Live, Primetime, only on SportsGrid.
With the onset of NIL and the transfer portal, it is allowing players to develop further in college, and guys that would maybe be stuck on the bench at a power program and not have as much shine are having the ability to find themselves in the spotlight.
Lane Kiffin came out and said we need to get bigger and more physical in terms of the offensive defensive lines, and that's why he went out and recruited that talent.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. Like, and it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for. So I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships.
Mm-hmm.
So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
All right, the opening tip getting ready here for the Game 4 here in Indiana. The Pacers trying to keep hope alive here tonight, extend the game, and head back to Boston for a Game 5, while the Celtics are trying to say, yeah, I don't think so. Now, keep in mind here, and this is interesting because the Celtics have been here and done this before. So they understand what's at stake. They also just watched Dallas do exactly the same thing they did to Indiana the night before. Dallas on the precipice of a 4-0 sweep. I don't think that the Celtics want to have to play any more extra games than Dallas here with the opportunity to close it out at home tomorrow. So I do think you're going to see a very motivated Celtics team here in this game, Dave, which again leads me to a lot of early overs, including Tatum, 29.5 points here tonight. There's no way he don't drop at least 30, right?
Yeah, unless it's Brown's night again, but usually don't do that back to back, right? So
right.
I don't know. That's we were talking about it during the break. What is the adjustments? I don't really think Indiana has any adjustments. I think they just got to score 120 and not let the end of the game happen like it did last time. That's all, right? They had the lead and then they just couldn't convert a couple possessions, and Boston was tremendous down the stretch. That fourth quarter was just back and forth and back and forth. And then Drew Holiday makes that steal, and it's all over. And I feel like that was Indiana's shot to at least make it. I think they had a shot of making it a 6-game series, really. Now it's definitely not going past 5, because if Boston don't win tonight, they're winning game 5 at home. So I don't know which guy to attack, which prop to look at. These closeout games in 3-0 spots are just brutal for, I think, finding the narrative for the team down 3-0. You really got to look long and hard and take some. I think you got to take a couple shots. You know, it's not always that easy, but when at least it's 1-1, 2-0 before it gets to 3-0, you feel like you're getting, I don't know, value. I don't know what the word is, but I feel like it's such a big crapshoot on any of the Indiana Pacers side props tonight for the hoop game.
I got everything early. I got Nembhard over 3.5 points in the first quarter. I got him over at 16.5 points. I got TJ McConnell over on his points prop. They are going to do exactly what they're doing right now, is they're going to keep attacking, and it's going to be, they're very point guard heavy this team. They're not going to slow the pace down. They're not going to try to go in the paint. That's not going to happen. They're going to be who they are. The problem is Tatum's already hit a 3. They still haven't attempted a 3 here, that being Indiana, and they haven't made one. They're settling for 2s, and that's fine, and that's their game. But, the problem is 3 is more than 2. I don't care how many you make of them, Dave. That's the problem. At some point, somebody's got to hit something for the perimeter with this team if they're going to go. But really, it's all Miles Turner and Siakam inside. And with Tatum already getting his feet wet, already hitting 3, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But keep an eye on Holiday, because he still, they reported, was not feeling well. And he wasn't feeling well last game, but was well enough to be able to steal a ball and win the game for him. So it'll be interesting to see if that becomes an issue as this game goes on, because they said it again today. He's just not, I don't know if it's sick or what's going on, but he's not feeling well. The IVs are out, they said here tonight for him.
A lot of that going around. It's going around out here. It's going around there. That's the danger of betting on a couple of the guys that may or may not be like that. They get a lead, or the game plays out like you said, early, quick start, build up a lead, and then just go, all right, Drew, sit down whole fourth quarter. Like we got this. So I think you got to be very cautious with guys like that tonight. Did you look at the baseball game at all for that still hasn't started yet tonight? There's a couple good items, I think, and it's a division game. Houston, it goes to Seattle. Seattle coming off the series against Washington. They had a players-only meeting Saturday night, salvaged the series by winning the game Sunday. But, man, the Astros are favored at Seattle. Did you take any peek at that?
Yeah. Here's the problem. Did that team meeting include an ability to hit the ball? Because they can't, and that's the problem. So, and you got to go up against Framber, no less. So I don't know that that's going to be great. It feels like it's still at 7.5. I was interested to see where that would go, but to me, this feels like maybe a bit of a pitcher's battle early in this game between Miller and Framber Valdez. Either way, I thought maybe under 4 in the first 5 wouldn't be a bad look because, I just watched 3 games over the weekend with Houston against the A's, and I wasn't all that impressed with how they're hitting the ball either. It's been quite a long road trip. So, and there will be people in the stands here tonight, which might confuse Houston, having just played 3 games in Oakland. They may not, that's a lot of distraction they're going to be hit with here tonight, and not like playing a single A game like you do with the A's here. There will be people in the stands. Are you looking at Seattle as the dog here? Because it feels like that's really, I couldn't back Houston on the road in this spot, even with Valdez.
Yeah, I haven't done anything yet, but I took some notes today for the game because I knew this was the last one. Framber, 0-2, 7.08 ERA in 4 starts versus Seattle since 2023. So not good success, particularly against them. And Seattle beat Houston 2 out of 3 in the beginning part of the month when Houston was playing really bad. So if you were thinking under, I might have to say over.
In the game. Well, that could very well be here, but Bryce Miller, 5.5 Ks is an interesting prop, too. We'll talk more about that game. In-game live primetime continues here on the grid.
We salute the brave and courageous women and men serving in the United States military, protecting our freedom. Please take time this Memorial Day weekend to honor the memory and sacrifice of our military veterans and their loving families, and those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in their service to our nation.
How fragile are these guys? It's amazing. They're supposed to be the greatest athletes in the world, and yet they can't walk and chew gum at the same time without getting hurt, for goodness sakes.
That Trout injury really is a bummer too, because people thought he was going to have a big year. And I look, I don't feel bad for the Angels. I don't like Mike Trout in Anaheim. I thought he should have left when his contract was up.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
With the onset of NIL and the transfer portal, it is allowing players to develop further in college, and guys that would maybe be stuck on the bench at a power program and not have as much shine are having the ability to find themselves in the spotlight.
Lane Kiffin came out and said we need to get bigger and more physical in terms of the offense and defensive lines, and that's why he went out and recruited that talent.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. Like, and it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for. So I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships. So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live. Primetime here on the SportsGrid Network on this Monday. Joe Raineri alongside Dave Sharapan. 14-8 in the first TV timeout here. The Celtics on top of the Pacers. Pretty much what we thought we would get here. 4 of 6 from 3 for the Celtics. 0 of 3 from 3 for the Pacers. And they're only shooting 36% from the floor. So Little less production so far for the Pacers than what they have seen, at least in previous games. But for the Celtics, business as usual, 5 of 11 from the field, 4 of 6 from 3. If they keep shooting threes at a very high clip here, which we know they will, Dave, if you're averaging 35% for the series, when you're taking 43s a game, if you raise that to, let's say, 39, 40%, that's a lot of points. And that's a big difference between what we've seen and what we might get here tonight for them. And I don't know what Indiana can do to prevent that, because it is what it is here at this point.
Yep. And the number reflects it. So far, the start is, like you said, exactly kind of what you anticipated. So I'm looking at the in-game numbers, 2 places. I got a 7.5 and 8.5. And 226.5, 225.5. So sitting around the same numbers, close to the total. Listen, you keep an eye on that. I got to keep an eye on the hockey. Okay. You saw the game 3 line between the Stars and the Oilers. The series price is interesting, Joe, because you got Edmonton now with home ice and a slight favorite in a lot of places. So, if you like Dallas, if you expect another game like you got last game, where it's just a wrestling match for 2 periods, low scoring, nobody doing anything, minimal penalties in this series so far too. You bet under and you bet the dog. That's what is happening, I think, all over. I don't know. I think we get a different game up in Edmonton, Joe. What do you think? Like over it all?
We got a different game in Florida yesterday, didn't we?
Right.
So 5-4 in overtime, and it seems like we're kind of getting that with these. I just think when you have 2 teams like with as much firepower as these 2 have tonight, much like the Rangers and the Panthers, it's going to be very hard to keep 2-1 games going. At some point, the puck luck and instead of hitting the post, these goals are going to go in. And next thing you know, we're going to have 7-8 goal games here. And Stuart Skinner is going to look like Stuart Skinner. And, all will be right with the world here. I think the question is, will it happen right off the bat, or will we get most of the scoring later in this game? Because if I like the over, I like the first period under. But I think the goals are coming in this game, and I think they're coming a little bit later. Maybe even to the point, Dave, if I can get the first period under, maybe I can get a 4.5 here if we get no scoring in the first. Because I think the goals are coming here later in this game.
That's the move. And I kind of like the first period under 2. I haven't looked at the price. We'll have to find it here. No goal in the first 10 minutes. I think if anybody scores in the first 10 minutes, it's Edmonton. But they've taken a different approach with Dallas. Not starting slow, but I mean, at home, you come out with all that energy and all that emotion with the crowd, and do yourself a favor, crank up the national anthem when the guy holds the microphone up and everybody in the joint sings it. It's a lot of fun. They get by. Dallas doesn't allow a goal in the first couple minutes. From that, I think we could go to whole first period with only 1 goal or less. So that's the one. That's the one you gotta really think about playing. I think for the game, Joe, though, like I'm with you. I'm leaning over right now.
Yeah.
And if you wait, you'll get a better number than 5.5.
I agree.
But if there's a goal in the first 5 minutes, this thing jumps to 6.5 right away.
Correct.
So you can take your shot that way.
We're still alive for it to not hit 2 goals in the first period with the under. And by the way, -120 to the over I'm seeing for the first period, over 1.5 goals here. So I still give myself a chance, even if a goal is put in the back of the net in the first. But if it's not, there is absolutely a path for us to take the over at a better number than the 5.5. We'll have an update from Indiana with the Celtics when we get back in game live primetime here on the grid.
We salute the brave and courageous women and men serving in the United States military, protecting our freedom. Please take time this Memorial Day weekend to honor the memory and sacrifice of our military veterans and their loving families, and those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in their service to our nation.
How fragile are these guys? It's amazing. They're supposed to be the greatest athletes in the world, and yet they can't walk and chew gum at the same time without getting hurt, for goodness sakes.
That Trout injury really is a bummer too, because people thought he was going to have a big year. And I look, I don't feel bad for the Angels. I don't like Mike Trout in Anaheim. I thought he should have left when his contract was up.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
With the onset of NIL and the transfer portal, it is allowing players to develop further in college, and guys that would maybe be stuck on the bench at a power program and not have as much shine are having the ability to find themselves in the spotlight.
Lane Kiffin came out and said we need to get bigger and more physical in terms of the offensive defensive lines, and that's why he went out and recruited that talent.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. Like, and it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for. So I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships. So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live, primetime here on the SportsGrid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Dave Sharapan. We welcome in our good friend George Kurtz here as we're getting ready for the puck to drop here. Kurtz in this game coming up, Edmonton taking on Dallas. Game 3 knotted up at 1 apiece. Dave and I have been going back and forth here. I get the under feel, but we had the same feel with the Rangers and the Panthers yesterday. It just feels like there's a lot of firepower on this ice tonight. Would you be shocked if this thing went over 5.5?
No, you can't be shocked, right? The Oilers generally, I like to say you're not going to make a lot of money betting under on the Oilers. That being said, they're 5-0-1 to the under last 6 games. So I'm on the under as well. I'm going to ride the streak. And, but it won't be a big play. It won't be a big play. I've thought about this, and I think this is how I've decided to play it. I'm going to take the under. But I'm also going to take Zach. I think if there is a lot of goals, I think it might be on Edmonton's side. I'm going to take Zach Hyman anytime goal scorer plus 125. So at least I'll try and cover myself that way. If there are more goals for Edmonton, Zach Hyman, I assume he's going to be the goal scorer. McDavid's not scoring, right? He's an assist guy. Could take Draisaitl as well, who's plus, I think, 130 last time I checked. So I can see that as well. But I took the under, Dallas, and Zach Hyman anytime goal scorer.
All makes perfect sense. All makes perfect sense, George. What doesn't make sense is how yesterday the Rangers can get outplayed, outshot, out everything, and then you get hockey. And they get a goal on a deflection and win, and now they're ahead. How do you think the style of play is tonight after seeing that yesterday? Because I think Dallas is perfectly okay sitting back, counter-punching, letting Edmonton kind of start dictating play. First period under tonight?
We know Edmonton's going to come out strong, right? They sort of did the same thing in game 2, and Dallas, I guess you could say they withstood it. All right. I think what Peter DeBoer, the head coach, said they were tentative. That's how he described the start. So I don't think he wants them to be tentative again, Dave. I think he wants them to pick it up a little bit and not have Edmonton come at you over and over, the wave after wave here. That being said, do I think this first period under? Well, we think the game is under. Yeah. I don't think we're going to get you need 2 goals to get the over here. Someone will score. I don't want to go scoreless here, but 1-0 sounds about right. So I don't mind the under. I'm not going to play it, but I don't mind it. I think it's almost a feeling out game. Edmonton's surface is known as one of the best ice surfaces in the NHL, right? It's a fast surface for a fast team. So not really all that surprising there. We get a couple of injured players back in this game. Adam Henrique is back for the Edmonton Oilers, third liner player. But Dallas gets back Rupe Hintz, which is a more important player to them. Now, I don't know what kind of shape he's in. He hasn't played in 2 weeks. What his ice time is going to be like. Is this going to be a special teams guy? Can he shoot? Because I think that injury is to his hand, wrist, or finger. I think that's where he got hurt in that Colorado series. So I don't know what kind of shape he's going to be in here. But like I said, I'm a cautious under player. Everything's cautious to me about the under because it's Edmonton. I would feel so much better if there was any other team but the Edmonton Oilers because this is not how I make money off Edmonton. It's almost always the over and multiple times on the over during these games. But to their credit, they're playing playoff hockey. They're paying attention to defense here. That being said, maybe this is the night that Skinner poops the bed, right? I think that's coming. I do think that's coming, and maybe it's tonight.
2.5 is the Dallas team total here. Are they getting 3 goals here, Kurtz? If this is an under, 3 goals probably wins, but who's getting Edmonton with the 3 goals? Because Skinner is a big question mark. Ottinger isn't. So if you're going to look at going, does 3 goals win this, or do you think 3 or more than 3 actually wins this game here today?
I think what we've been seeing, I think 3-2. That's what I have, 3-2. I do think Dallas is the team that gets to 3. That being said, it's hard to bank on that. And we all know if it's 3-2, we're going to sweat out the empty net for 2.5, 3 minutes. I think for me, from the under, you're hoping it's 2-2 late and Dallas scores. You don't have to worry about the empty net, but that's what you worry about with 3-2, and that's exactly what I think the score is going to be at some point late in the third period. It's going to be 3-2 here. I'm going to have Dallas. I have Dallas in 6 to win the series. I have Dallas going to the Stanley Cup. I have Dallas winning the Stanley Cup. So I'm not going to get off that bandwagon now. Give me the Stars tonight, but 3-2 is, if I was going to make a prediction on the final score, it's 3-2. I don't want 4-2. That's bad for my under.
George, did you take a look at any of the Conn Smythe stuff? MVP of the playoffs, because Shesterkin yesterday kind of came to the front runner position for me, odds wise, and just he was unbelievable yesterday. And I'm looking at this series and I'm trying to pick a guy, and obviously they're going to try to get McDavid to be the guy, but you said it, he ain't scoring. People are betting him to score goals, maybe to get a point. I don't know. He's making, other guys obviously makes everybody better by being on the ice. But, who would you look at for Dallas? I don't even know. And is it just Draisaitl or Hyman for Edmonton if it's not McDavid?
Probably. I mean, you can make a very strong argument for Bouchard. He's played that well, but I just don't see a defenseman getting it over McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman. And those guys have to be kidnapped by aliens, right? To not get, one of those things not to get the Conn Smythe. So I don't see that happening, even though he may deserve it. All right. And then, listen, for the Conn Smythe, it's sort of like the MVP in the Super Bowl, right? You got to look at the goaltender first. In Super Bowl, we look at the quarterback. You got to look at them first. There's such an advantage here. If the Edmonton Oilers were to win, Skinner's going to get some love because obviously he played really well then. I don't think they're going to have a Skinner-Picard thing again. I don't think that's going to – I think if they have to go back to Picard, I think they're done. And they didn't get this far. So you'd have to look at Skinner as well here. But, no, I think it would be right now I think it might be Hyman might be my first guess here because he's had that kind of playoffs. But, the voters are going to love to go McDavid. All right, know that love here. If it's Dallas – I'm going to assume it's Jake Ottinger. I don't see how anybody else, right? Wyatt Johnson would have to score some more goals. Yeah, he's still going to score. Where if Dallas wins, I know they've won the games, right? I know they've won 7 more games, so they got there. That's Jake O. If it's the Rangers, I almost certainly Shesterkin. He is playing that well. He stole that game. He should be arrested for grand larceny yesterday because he stole that game. And if it's Florida, oh, God. Who right now?
That's the hardest one because I don't think it's Bobrovsky. It could be Barkov. It could be
Kachuk. He picks it up.
Reinhardt right now.
Reinhardt.
Yeah.
Reinhardt.
Yeah.
I think it's sort of unknown with Florida right now. Florida gets that way. We'll see how they got there.
Yeah. Right. And that's what's going to come down to it. You said you have a ticket Dallas in 6. I'm seeing Dallas wins 4-2 at nearly 5-1. Dallas wins 4-3 at 4-1. So it looks like the books are thinking this thing is going 7 more than anything else here. This game will go a long way to do it, but you like Dallas in 6? That's the ticket you're holding, 4-2?
Yeah, that was before the series started. It's hard not to be impressed with how Edmonton has played. I didn't think they'd be able to keep up this defensive play. I thought maybe they would beat the Canucks, but of course the Canucks, they didn't have Demko. Then they didn't have Brock Besser for Game 7. So the odds were stacked against the Canucks. Almost like someone was saying, "No, not your year. We'll take this player out, this player out." Right. I thought Dallas would have an easier time. I think if Dallas wins tonight, we get our 6. I think it'll be over in 6. If Edmonton wins tonight, well, and Dallas is hoping they can win it in 7. I don't think they're winning 3 straight to win it in 6. I don't think that'll happen here. I think that we might get our 7-game series, the best 2 words in the English language, Game 7.
Oh, I kind of like that. You like it's 7. So if Edmonton wins tonight, we're going 7 games. So that may not be a bad way to look at it, too. If you like Edmonton, you might as well take Edmonton in 7, too, because this feels like we're going to be doing this whole zigzag thing for quite a while with this series. And then in the meantime, George, a look ahead till tomorrow. Are we coming back to New York too?
We better be, because once again, I'm on Florida to win that series. But that's a lot to get over, man. You choked that game up, Florida. That's a game you had to win here. And Bobrovsky, he's going to be shaking up a little bit too. If I'm the Rangers, I want to put some bucks on him, see what he's at here. But yes, Florida rebounds. We're going to New York, tied at 2.
Yeah, it could be early and often in that one there. All right, George Kurtz, the puck has dropped, so the Yankees are not playing, unfortunately, but the Yankees don't even get me started. I don't know why you had to do it, George. I really don't. It's disgusting.
We salute the brave and courageous women and men serving in the United States military, protecting our freedom. Please take time this Memorial Day weekend to honor the memory and sacrifice of our military veterans and their loving families, and those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in their service to our nation.
How fragile are these guys? It's amazing. They're supposed to be the greatest athletes in the world, and yet they can't walk and chew gum at the same time without getting hurt, for goodness sakes.
That Trout injury really is a bummer, too, because people thought he was going to have a big year. And I look, I don't feel bad for the Angels. I don't like Mike Trout in Anaheim. I thought he should have left when his contract was up.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
With the onset of NIL and the transfer portal, it is allowing players to develop further in college, and guys that would maybe be stuck on the bench at a power program and not have as much shine are having the ability to find themselves in the spotlight.
Lane Kiffin came out and said we need to get bigger and more physical in terms of the offensive defensive lines, and that's why he went out and recruited that talent.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. Like, and it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for. So I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships. So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live, and we are prime time, and that was quick. Can we get a goal horn here, please? That would be fantastic. And it looks like Edmonton gets it done quickly. Wow, is that quick?
Yep.
1-0 Edmonton now. 3 shots on goal for Edmonton. One of them just went by, so... Wow, I bet you didn't see that coming, Ottinger. So here we are, Dave. Worst case scenario, in the first 2 minutes, we get a goal. So now we just got to hope we get no more goals here, but I guess this shouldn't at all be surprising, should it?
No, this is right. We were just talking about it before they dropped the puck. Dallas has to survive the first 5 minutes. They don't. Who was that? McDavid?
It was McDavid deflected off of somebody. McDonough or somebody. Whoever was in the crease or around the crease, it ricocheted off of him into the goal. But it was McDavid, the one who shot it. But another very strange right place, right time kind of goal, though, right?
Yeah. Listen, as soon as he gets going, I think Edmonton really, I don't want to say they're the favorite to win it all, but before they won a game against Dallas, they were the fourth choice. Of all the teams left, it was, Florida, Dallas, Rangers, Edmonton. And now it's become where Edmonton, obviously with the win today, they'll be 2-1 at home with home ice, unlike Florida. The Rangers are playing on the road. So, dare I say they're the odds-on favorite if they win this game tonight? It's possible. It's actually possible. And if you'd have told me that with Skinner being pulled in a game, it's Game 6, and all that other stuff, there's no chance that this would have happened a week ago, let alone right now. So how big is the adjustment for the in-game number right now? Refresh.
Gotta be. I don't know. Will it move that quickly? It won't go to 6.5. What is it? 6.5?
It already is.
Wow.
It's 6.5 for the total. Yeah, goal in the first 5 minutes, that jumps it up. No, I don't. Is it possible this game goes under? Absolutely. Thought it could go under 5.5. Now you get under 6.5 even money right now if you make a play. So, but we talked about it before the game. The Edmonton is a different game in Edmonton. Faster ice. And them getting the last change. Now they get their top two lines.
It was Hyman, by the way. It was Hyman. The goal was Hyman.
Hyman got credit for the goal?
That's correct.
Oh, wow.
Anytime goal.
Okay.
Didn't Kurtz just say that? Yep, there he is. Zach Hyman said it. Yep.
And it was plus 850 to score the first goal.
Yes.
Goal
was it really?
was good.
Wow.
Hyman was plus 850. Yeah. Draisaitl was the number one choice, plus 750. Hyman was 850. And then there was Wyatt Anderson. And then a bunch of other people after that. I just looked at the top three. So when a big dog gets it and still pays off 750 or 850, that's pretty good.
So, well, let's see it now. If you have, and I don't think they have a shot on goal, Dallas does yet. We're about, 4 minutes into this game, and it looks like Edmonton's about to get a power play, which is not great news for Dallas here. So we'll keep an eye on that, but it definitely looks like Oilers heading to the power play up 1-0 here with about 15 and a half to go in the first. Good back and forth in the NBA right now. 33 is what we've got. Celtics on top by a deuce. Nembhard chucking them up, getting them done. But the bench also coming to play for the Celtics. Peyton Pritchard chucking it up here, answering for threes. So it's starting to rain threes. It's also starting to rain. I'm seeing what, Dave? 223 and a half. It's been as low as 217 and a half because they have gone through a couple of lulls here. But now it looks like it's starting to fly up and over. 6.5 are the in-game numbers, too, as the Pacers hit yet another three. Which is now they're really starting to feel it. And guess who? Mr. Nembhard again, who has got to be up to 10 points already. So there you go. He might have this thing cleared in the before we get to the 5-minute mark here of the second quarter. So 36-35 in that one here. And Edmonton on that power play, Dave. Minute left to go. Dallas, how is Dallas's power play killing been so far?
They've been pretty good. They're really limiting the shots. So, but they're not really taking many penalties. This is a crucial part of the game. This is a crucial part of the game. They get down 2 goals early in the first period. The building has all the buzz and all the excitement. They're going to start chanting, "We want the cup," they get crazy up in Edmonton. I went to the Stanley Cup game there in 2006. They played the Hurricanes in Game 3.
Yep.
It was magical. They won. They scored first. They did this exact thing, and they won the game 4-0. And it was a really good bet at the time because they were home dogs. They were like plus 110. I'll never forget it.
So how
I don't know,
important
Joe.
is it for Dallas has got to score here? They're going to have to take this crowd out of it at some point.
Just survive
At some
right
point.
now. I don't think they have to score. They got to just not allow another goal. If you're Dallas, you said we'll be down 1-0 after the first period, kill a penalty or two,
right,
and give up a goal in the first 3 minutes. They'd sign for that tomorrow or today. So good to go. I think they're okay if they don't score. So is our total if you're on the under. That ain't bad.
Well, that'd be great. Yes, that would also be phenomenal if we could do that. Ottinger with a pretty decent save there, but 13 and a half minutes to go. We're almost 6 minutes into the first period, and we still don't have a shot on goal for Dallas. So Skinner's looking well, given the fact that Dallas can't seem to get the puck out of their zone, and now they're on a power play, Edmonton. So we're not going to get a shot anytime soon, but it does look like they were able to kill off the power play. Still 1-0 there. All right, so we've got an interesting one happening in Indiana in the all-important game number 4 for the Pacers. They're up 1 on the Celtics. We'll take a look at all of these in-game numbers when In-Game Live Primetime continues here on the Grid.
We salute the brave and courageous women and men serving in the United States military, protecting our freedom. Please take time this Memorial Day weekend to honor the memory and sacrifice of our military veterans and their loving families, and those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in their service to our nation.
How fragile are these guys? It's amazing. They're supposed to be the greatest athletes in the world, and yet they can't walk and chew gum at the same time without getting hurt, for goodness sakes.
That Trout injury really is a bummer too, because people thought he was going to have a big year. And I look, I don't feel bad for the Angels. I don't like Mike Trout in Anaheim. I thought he should have left when his contract was up.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
With the onset of NIL and the transfer portal, it is allowing players to develop further in college, and guys that would maybe be stuck on the bench at a power program and not have as much shine are having the ability to find themselves in the spotlight.
Lane Kiffin came out and said we need to get bigger and more physical in terms of the offensive defensive lines, and that's why he went out and recruited that talent.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. Like, and it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for. So I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships. So in the same note of saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live primetime here on the SportsGrid Network. This is the part of the show where we said if you didn't want to lay 7.5, 8 with Boston, that you'd have an opportunity to get them at a better number in game, and we're heading in that direction right now. It's a 42-39 Pacers lead in-game number. 28.5 for a total. 4.5 now is what the Celtics are laying, and they are down 3 as the Pacers continue to match bucket for bucket here, which, if we're being honest here, Dave, this is exactly what Carlisle said we were going to get. This is what we've gotten in all 3 games. This is what's going to determine how this game ends. Really has nothing to do with what happens here. It's really going to be as whether or not Indiana can sustain this in the second half. That's going to be the question, as Doug McDermott is in for the Pacers. I don't think we've heard that name called here much, but Naismith, Turner, McDermott, yes. Nembhard leading, by the way, 12 points. Yeah, he's the leading scorer in the game here so far, and the Pacers continuing to maintain a 3-point lead. We finally got a couple of shots on goal with Dallas, Dave, which is good news. But what are we, about 8 minutes into the first period, and just that quick goal, and are we still at 6.5? Should we look to go under here?
I flipped it over. Let me see. It's already, well, no, it's 6.5 with some major juice now. 140 on the under.
Wow.
So
damn,
it's going to flip here in the next couple minutes. We get to the halfway point. There's still only 1 goal.
We'll
expected
go
to go back to 5.5. So you'll have an opportunity to go under 5.5 plus money. 6.5 with juice. Right now, you got to do it though, because it's going to jump up. 7 shots to 2. Edmonton's leading still. Dallas withstood that early surge. Didn't do much with their power play. I don't even know if they got the 2 shots, but it wasn't really threats.
Right.
The basketball game. We've seen it before. We were talking about this both pregame tonight. Last time we did the show, Pacers first half's looking pretty good right now. Don't want to jinx it, say anything, but we got Celtics guys in our ears. Patrick is all over it, and who kind of give me the heads up that tonight's got to be the sweep, and then they just sit and watch. So you get at Indiana's best shot, right?
Yep.
And you still win the game if you're the Celtics. There's no, I mean, I don't want to say there's always this urgency, but they're like, we'll be fine. Goal horn again?
Disgusting. Yes, this is disgusting. And he didn't need any help this time. Donovan David with a disgusting goal there, given up by Ottinger to make it a 2-0 Edmonton lead. And I don't know, how does this happen? Edmonton scores a goal and Dallas lost a shot. It was 7 shots to 2, and now it's 8 shots to 1. So they took a shot away from Dallas, and Edmonton scores with McDavid right in front of Ottinger and gets it done. Kind of a absolutely disgusting display of defense there by Dallas, Dave. And now all of a sudden, 2-0. First period over, hits. What does it go to now, Dave, with 2 goals here in the first 10 minutes? Got to go, what, 7.5?
So just like in the basketball game, where there's a real reluctance,
right?
When you're doing when you're the in-game guy,
right?
Booking a game, you don't want to make the Celtics the dog. I don't think you want to get another number opened up if you're doing a game in-game. So now it's 6.5 with the juice way to the over. And if another goal scored, then it goes to 7.5. But you just don't want to open up another number. Like if you go to 7.5, you have to massively juice the under. I don't think they're going to do it. I just clicked refresh on my book. I mean, wow. -1, 6.5 over -165.
What's that telling you? Yeah. What's that telling you? Absolutely not. No.
There's probably going to be another goal. There's probably going to be another goal, right?
Well, I'll tell you what's interesting. I can get 2.5 goals with the Stars at -115. So is this runaway train for Edmonton, or Dallas 1 goal right back in there? Should I take the 2.5 goals? Doesn't feel bad.
That's a really good price, right?
Yeah. Yes, I agree. That's not a bad look either. So, all right, Dallas Stars plus 2.5. We'll keep you updated. In-game live primetime continues on the grid.
We salute the brave and courageous women and men serving in the United States military, protecting our freedom. Please take time this Memorial Day weekend to honor the memory and sacrifice of our military veterans and their loving families, and those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in their service to our nation.
How fragile are these guys? It's amazing. They're supposed to be the greatest athletes in the world, and yet they can't walk and chew gum at the same time without getting hurt, for goodness sakes.
That Trout injury really is a bummer too, because people thought he was going to have a big year. And I look, I don't feel bad for the Angels. I don't like Mike Trout in Anaheim. I thought he should have left when his contract was up.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
With the onset of NIL and the transfer portal, it is allowing players to develop further in college, and guys that would maybe be stuck on the bench at a power program and not have as much shine are having the ability to find themselves in the spotlight.
Lane Kiffin came out and said we need to get bigger and more physical in terms of the offensive defensive lines, and that's why he went out and recruited that talent.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. Like, and it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for. So I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships. So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
Well, it's getting good here. Edmonton up 2-0 over Dallas, and bodies are flying all over the place right now. And this one is Dallas is doing. They have, I guess, woken up here a little bit and realized that you're down 2-0 here. We still have 9 minutes to go in the first period, and McDavid and Hyman and Draisaitl and these guys are running circles around him here, skating circles around him. So they need to calm this thing down here a little bit, Dave. 6.5, juice to the over, 140 I'm seeing, so that's starting to come down. Does it hit 5.5? If this stays 2-0, does it stay 6.5 by the time we get ready for the second?
Yeah, I think
it will.
You don't want to. You don't want to give him another shot at 5.5 yet.
Right.
You got to start the second period, get a couple minutes in, and then move it. At least that's what I would do. I wouldn't give him another shot at 5.5 because you get one goal in the second period either way, and it completely opens up.
Yes, changes everything.
The Oilers are flying. Like the energy in the building is noticeable. They're dominating the puck. And I don't want to say Dallas got to score now. I tried to say before they got to survive, not give up another goal. They didn't. Now it's desperation time. You got to really survive 8 more minutes.
They got to take the crowd out of it too. I mean,
yeah, no, I mean, you can feel it in between whistles and like the mascots down jumping into the glass, riling everybody up. I mean, this is one of those ones where the home ice. Joe, do you think home ice has as much advantage as it did before? Like, because there's been a lot of talk for years now, it doesn't have as much effect. But in a team like Edmonton, the whole city, everybody, they want this team to win so bad, and they've had these playoff disappointments so many times. Like they are geeked up. Doesn't even do the word justice.
Yeah. No, it doesn't. I mean, but look how well it's home ice works for Toronto every year. Phenomenal. Really. You knew I was going to go there. Just to prove the point here. But hey, listen, you got to be able to win on the road. That's what separates the men from the boys, right? In the NHL. So you got to be able You got to be able to win a couple of games on the road at some point on your way to a Stanley Cup final here. And I'll give credit. The only guys that I see that are hitting the ice are getting crushed right now. Edmonton seems to be like Teflon. Dallas players are bouncing off of them, getting laid out all over the place. So they have to. They really do. They have to weather this storm, and it would be great. But listen, Dallas, aren't they the best team in the NHL on the road right now, I believe, in the playoffs?
Yeah, they've been really
They did
good.
all their damage on the road, didn't they? So this should not be too big a moment for them at all.
Sometimes it's just dictated by the other team. I mean, like, look at last night. Look at last night in the NBA. Minnesota goes on the road, and again, how Dallas just keeps doing it. And, the Celtics are playing now, and they're going to win this series, and they're going to end up playing Dallas. And Kyrie is coming back to Boston. It's going to be electric, okay? You see what he did last night? He was, again, between him and Luka, I mean, that's Batman and Robin. They found each other. They're playing very well together. And it's one of those things where, I don't know. Am I crazy to think that Dallas got a shot against the Celtics, Joe?
Dallas is the team to beat, as far as I'm concerned. They are, without a doubt.
Wow.
Now, that's a big if. If they can get Lively back healthy, Maxey, I believe Kleber is coming back or will be available to come back in Game 4 tomorrow night. And then on the other side, you need to have Porzingis not at 70%. Like, Porzingis needs to be back and a part of this Celtics run here. I would much rather see those two. I think it's going to be an epic war if everyone is available to each team. And it's going to be a very interesting chess match between them. But listen, it's the only team Boston will have faced that has two superstars that can actually beat them on the court. Like, usually it's Brown and Tatum and good luck. Yeah, well, they got a pretty good pair there in Dallas. So this will be, I think, the toughest test for Boston, where I think Dallas will have – I think you can say Dallas has been tested much more than what Boston certainly has here. So I do think that's going to be an epic battle. But I do think Porzingis needs to be back and healthy and can't play for 5 minutes, and then he's on the bench, he's hurt again. Which is unfortunately the problem with Porzingis.
When you look at the path, you see Dallas, Clippers, OKC, and Minnesota, all without home court, right? Oh no, they had home court against the Clippers, but that's a pretty good. That's a pretty good path. There's no taking.
No, the Clippers were a 4 seed. Dallas was a 5 seed.
What they've done.
Dallas was a 5 seed. Clippers were the 4 seed. Dallas was the 5 seed. So Dallas is pretty much
starting at the Clippers. Yeah. So
they got to go on the road and win games.
You can't take anything away from them. They have not had the easiest route at all. They continue to do it. I think they're getting better. I think they're getting better. Like, I think guys have established their roles. Like, you go sit in the corner. We're going to drive and kick it to you, knock them down early, and then whoever's not going good in the first half is the guy in the second half. So if Kyrie's slow in the first, it's Luka and everybody else. And in the second half, get him going. I'm impressed, for the Celtics fans that we got, watching and working on the show. Like, I wouldn't plan the duck boat parades yet, Like, I got to worry about – I'm going to do Bostonian versus the Book tomorrow. Matt was back east with his family. He's going to have the Boston accent again. He's been listening to Boston Sports Talk Radio, watching Boston TV. He's going to come back and say, "Oh, well, we'll plan that. We'll plan the parade." I don't think so. -220 to win it all. Dallas is around 180. That's the series price, somewhere in there. Do you think it moves much if Porzingis is rolled in?
Oh, he will be. He's going to be. He's going to be back for the. Let's just call it the Dallas. I think it's fair to say history tells us that there won't be a 3-0 comeback here by Minnesota or Indiana. So let's just call it Dallas and say that yes, I do think. They've already said there were rumors today that he'd be playing a little bit in this game here tonight, but they decided against it before tip-off. But he's been out there with the 5-on-5 drills. He's coming back for the finals. But the question with him always is, okay, how long do we get him? Because it's not like Dallas ain't a physical team here, and this guy is totally made of glass, and we all know it. But he needs to be available to them in the middle of that floor there to help protect that rim, because they got some pretty tough big dudes there in Dallas, and they're starting to roll right now here to the point where Minnesota doesn't even know what hit them. They have no idea what the train that just ran through them. They have no idea didn't we just beat Denver? Yes, you did, and nobody cares. It's been that long ago. So you ain't beating Kyrie and Luka anytime soon. So and right now, Boston turning it up in the final couple of minutes here of the half. We'll get you caught up with that when In-Game Live Primetime continues here on the Grid.
We salute the brave and courageous women and men serving in the United States military, protecting our freedom. Please take time this Memorial Day weekend to honor the memory and sacrifice of our military veterans and their loving families, and those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in their service to our nation.
How fragile are these guys? It's amazing. They're supposed to be the greatest athletes in the world, and yet they can't walk and chew gum at the same time without getting hurt, for goodness sakes.
That Trout injury really is a bummer too, because people thought he was going to have a big year. And I look, I don't feel bad for the Angels. I don't like Mike Trout in Anaheim. I thought he should have left when his contract was up.
In-Game Live, Primetime, only on SportsGrid.
With the onset of NIL and the transfer portal, it is allowing players to develop further in college, and guys that would maybe be stuck on the bench at a power program and not have as much shine are having the ability to find themselves in the spotlight.
Lane Kiffin came out and said we need to get bigger and more physical in terms of the offense and defensive lines, and that's why he went out and recruited that talent.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. Like, and it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for. So I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships. So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back In-Game Live, and we are Primetime here on the SportsGrid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Dave Sharapan, and coming down to the wire, a lot of sweats happening in the first half right now of this Celtics and Pacers game. 56-54 is the score right now. Celtics up by a bucket, and that's important, of course. 28 seconds left to go here, Dave. First half line was Pacers plus 4.5. And if you were backing the Pacers early, It's looking good right now, 56 to 55. In-game number 220.5 for a total. That got as high as 228.5 at points here in this game. 5.5 is what I'm seeing, but also the team totals, Dave. 58.5 for Boston, 55.5 for Indiana. Those were the team totals in the first half. So this final 27 seconds is going to be, there's a lot of sweating going on here early in this game, Dave.
By books and bettors, right? This is one of those ones where the last two possessions are going to determine the team totals, over, under. The first half total is already over. So we're already over that. Money line, Celtics, you're sweating the first half money line. First half money line. Pacers is live. Oh, there it is. Wow.
No.
Okay.
Here it is. Yeah, there it is. With a unbelievable turnaround, unbelievable buzzer jumper by Nembhard to get Indiana over their 55.5 team total. And 58 to 57. So the Celtics team total comes up a little short. Pacers go over. First half total, Dave, I believe was 115.5, which
I thought it was 114.5. Okay. I thought it
was earlier today, but I think it closed at 115.5. So depending on where you got that, you want to talk about sharp lines. 115.5, and it lands 115, 114.5. You're celebrating right now. But my goodness, what a game that we've got here. But in-game total, right back where we started, Dave, 222.5, 5.5 now the Celtics are laying here in this full game. And we just saw this. So what's going to change in the second half of the Pacers is my question. What's going to change?
So I got Siakam with 13 and Nembhard with 16. Otherwise, everyone else is 5 or less points-wise. What has to change? Someone else has to score. That's what has to change.
That's correct.
For the Pacers.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So, numbers easy. Like, I don't want to say it's easy, but I just clicked refresh on my odds screen, Joe. 6 places closed 115 for the first half.
Ooh.
So it fell right on the number. You got to tip your hat to the guys who do the numbers. When they do that, they love to pat themselves on the back when they're right. That's great. Good job. Now book the second half. Now what are you going to do? Oh, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put up the same exact number. That's easy.
Yep.
Put it up.
Yep.
That's it. Yeah.
Absolutely unbelievable. 223.5, 5.5 is what we're seeing. Second half, I guess Pacers plus another 4.5. Can we trust Indiana in the second half? I think that's what this is all going to come down to. Can we trust them in the second half? Or do the Celtics come out and just go, yeah, okay, we're done messing with you here. Although, give the Pacers credit, 6 of 15 from 3, Dave. They were not good to start, so they ended up hitting 40%. 8 of 20 for the Celtics here. So I guess what the Pacers decided to do was they upped the output of the threes for sure, because they're almost on par with the Celtics. Not a lot of whistles. Did you notice this? Not a whole lot of foul shooting. I'm wondering if that's going to be the case in the second half. Usually when they don't blow a whole lot of whistles, there's not a whole lot of scoring, but enough for it to remain just at the number here. Still feel like the second half will be higher scoring than the first?
Probably. Yeah, I don't know if I feel strongly about anything. I don't know. Is anybody in foul trouble? I didn't scan the fouls. No fouls.
There hadn't been anybody out there, really. Yeah, I mean, the usual customary 1 or 2 fouls. I mean,
that's it.
7 free throws for the Celtics, 9 free throws for the Pacers. So we're not getting a whole lot of banging around. But, you know, that happens, Dave. When you're only shooting threes, how many fouls are you going to get?
Correct. Yeah. That's
so.
if you're playing, if you're in a Celtics position, would you rather clinch this series on the road or at home? Because I've been at home when a team's clinched. Like back in the day, I went to the games in Pittsburgh. I was here once where I went to when they clinched a division round at the Knights. Would you rather, as a guy playing, as a player, win it at home or on the road?
Well, if I'm Boston right now, I have no desire to want to play another game at home against this team. Absolutely not. Because then you bring in the possibility of bringing Halliburton back. Like, I want nothing to do with that. Like, I just want to end this now and hope that Minnesota can beat Dallas and extend that series, because the finals don't start until next Thursday. If both these series end in a sweep, we've got, guys, we got 8-9 days before we got any basketball. So it's a totally different, it's a game changer. So, you know, if I'm Boston, I don't want any more games. I want, we're done in 4. And Dallas, we're going to hope Minnesota wins another game or two. And you got to play right into the weekend where we can just hang out and throw the feet up and, watch Minnesota take you to the back there. That's it.
I want it, Joe, for the plane ride home. If we win it on the road, it's just us on a plane ride home. And we can, pop the music and play cards, and everybody's knowing we're in the NBA Finals. So win this thing tonight.
Problem is, Boston's been here and done this. The plane ride don't mean anything. It's the next series that matters, Bill.
We salute the brave and courageous women and men serving in the United States military, protecting our freedom. Please take time this Memorial Day weekend to honor the memory and sacrifice of our military veterans and their loving families, and those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in their service to our nation.
How fragile are these guys? It's amazing. They're supposed to be the greatest athletes in the world, and yet they can't walk and chew gum at the same time without getting hurt, for goodness sakes.
That Trout injury really is a bummer too, because people thought he was going to have a big year. And I look, I don't feel bad for the Angels. I don't like Mike Trout in Anaheim. I thought he should have left when his contract was up.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
With the onset of NIL and the transfer portal, it is allowing players to develop further in college, and guys that would maybe be stuck on the bench at a power program and not have as much shine are having the ability to find themselves in the spotlight.
Lane Kiffin came out and said we need to get bigger and more physical in terms of the offense and defensive lines, and that's why he went out and recruited that talent.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. Like, and it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for. So I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships. So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live, primetime here on the SportsGrid Network, and we are at the break in both playoff games here tonight. One in the NBA, featuring the Celtics up 158-57 at the break over the Pacers. Pacers, of course, on the verge of being swept. And in the NHL, we are at the first intermission. Ooh, that was a lot of fireworks for Edmonton early, but Dallas ended up holding off there and weathering the storm. It's 2-0 at the first intermission there, as it was all Edmonton early and often in that one. And before we look at the in-game numbers, we also just learned breaking news. We do have a baseball game coming up in about 20 minutes here. First pitch in Seattle with the Astros and the Seattle Mariners. But I can tell you, it appears that Angel Hernandez, I think labeled the worst ump or the most hated ump in all of Major League Baseball, going on about 3 decades, looks like he is retiring. His last game behind the plate was May 9th, and it appears that he is going to ride off into the sunset. The thing that's crazy is I didn't realize he was 62, Dave. He's been hated so long. He's just been like an absolute fixture in Major League Baseball, and some of the greatest YouTube videos you'll ever see of the worst calls known to mankind are with his name, but he is moving on from Major League Baseball to a softball league near you.
Yeah, I don't think that's even remotely possible. After doing that for as long as he's done it, there is no chance he's stepping on another field to up anything anymore.
No.
Let's call it a career. No. It's great. There's been a lot of controversy surrounding him, especially when he's behind home plate, because sometimes it's just like if the catcher just catches the ball, it doesn't matter if it's over the plate or not. He's just calling it a strike. So one of those situations where I know a lot of times, I got guys that chart umpires and do all this other stuff. They'd be like, bet his game's under when he's behind the plate. So it's one of those things. Father Time's undefeated. I mean, Father Time got Bill Walton today, and Bill Walton had an unbelievable career, unbelievable basketball player, tremendous announcing career, overcame everything he did, and he passed away. Angel Hernandez, 62 years old, still umping baseball, getting down.
Yeah.
Joe, can you get down in a squat as many times as a home plate umpire has to do and call balls and strikes? Could you do it tomorrow?
Yep. No, I could not. Nor would I want to do it. Yeah, no, I wouldn't. But what I didn't realize is last year, Dave, it's funny because out of sight, out of mind, he actually only worked 10 games last year because he had back issues. So this is all starting to make sense now as it's pushing it in. In those 10 games, they have that umpire auditor system program that they use. And apparently in just the 10 games he worked, he missed 161 calls. In 10 games, missed 161 calls. Absolutely unbelievable. So he hadn't worked a World Series, I think, since 2005. So it's a lot of regular season shenanigans. He was tied up with a law. He was suing Major League Baseball. So it looks like all of this has eventually come to a head. They worked out some sort of financial agreement. That is one of the hardest unions to break, Dave. Like when you're a Major League umpire, you're a Major League umpire until you walk away. Like they can't get rid of you that easily.
Yeah, it's back in the day when I was in Pittsburgh, I played golf with a couple umpires when they would come to town and got to know a couple of them really well. It was awesome to get to know them and then, watch them call different games. And everybody has their own style. I don't know what Angels was. I really don't know. But between the travel, if you have a back issues, working the plate, which base is the easiest base to work, Joe, if you're an umpire? What base is easiest? I don't think it's a question.
Oh, it's home plate, without a doubt.
Third base.
Third base. I'm with Hernandez, man. If I got somewhere to be, everything's a strike, dude. Like, you got to be up there swinging the bat. I ain't got time for you. Let's go. Swing the bat.
It's third base. It's the easiest night. You just hang
Too many pull hitters at third base. You got to be on your toes over there.
You get maybe one play at the base.
No.
You watch
Although the guy in the left field line. Or you know what? The guy that actually makes the calls up in the booth. That's also pretty good, too, there. I'd like that kid.
salute the brave and courageous women and men serving in the United States military, protecting our freedom. Please take time this Memorial Day weekend to honor the memory and sacrifice of our military veterans and their loving families, and those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in their service to our nation.
How fragile are these guys? It's amazing. They're supposed to be the greatest athletes in the world, and yet they can't walk and chew gum at the same time without getting hurt, for goodness sakes.
That Trout injury really is a bummer too, because people thought he was going to have a big year. And I look, I don't feel bad for the Angels. I don't like Mike Trout in Anaheim. I thought he should have left when his contract was up.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
With the onset of NIL and the transfer portal, it is allowing players to develop further in college, and guys that would maybe be stuck on the bench at a power program and not have as much shine are having the ability to find themselves in the spotlight.
Lane Kiffin came out and said you need to get bigger and more physical in terms of the offense and defensive lines, and that's why he went out and recruited that talent.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. Like, and it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for. So I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships. So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live, primetime here on the SportsGrid Network, and off and running, third quarter underway as the Pacers come out firing, hitting a three, and now have a 60-58 lead here over the Boston Celtics. So, well, I'm sorry, make that a 63-58 lead now, as the threes are raining here, Dave, in this one. But we also are getting ready for the second period in the NHL. 2-0 Edmonton here. And if we take a look at the line, the in-game number, we're down to, you're right, 5.5 I'm seeing here in this one. And do you expect things to slow down from here, I would imagine, right?
I don't know.
I know.
I don't know.
I know.
It's back to 5.5 with the juice. I got minus 130. The basketball is interesting because I'm sitting here watching it going, is now the time? Is now the time where you make the Celtics the dog? It burned the books last time. I know it's just an automatic waterfall of money that's waiting to back the Celtics. 63
down to 2.5.
2.5.
Down to 2.5. Yep.
Yeah. We're the book, Joe. We're not making it. We're not moving it. We're not making it.
I don't blame them.
Can't do it. I believe at 3.5 would be the bottom for me. I let you bet at 3.5. Take 3.5 if you'd like, but can't make the Celtics. Here they come. I mean, this game, Joe, the basketball game is going to be very entertaining. We'll tell people watch us, second screen experience, all that other stuff, but the basketball game has so many things going on. At what point do you start looking at NBA Finals MVP, Joe? Because we talked to Kurtz about the Conn Smythe and who might win it. I cannot decide. I mean, it's Luka or Kyrie, obviously, but the prices are really good on everybody else. And I don't know. Again, is it anybody else, or is that literally a 3-horse race?
It should be Nembhard right now, who's just hit another three here to make it a 6-point lead, 68 to 62. I'm just saying, why not? This kid brings them back. and wins a couple of games, my goodness, unbelievable job right now by the Pacers, who have come out and boat raced Boston to the point where they now have to call a timeout quickly, too, in the first 2 minutes. So Celtics still haven't come out of the locker room, but man, has Nembhard been on fire. 19 points, 4 boards, 7 assists right now. And meanwhile, you got Tatum with 16. You got a whole lot of guys with double figures for the Celtics, but none of them have made a basket yet here in the third quarter. Listen, you're going to be looking at anything future related with MVPs. There's 4 names. That's it. And 2 are on Boston and 2 are on Dallas. Everything else is inconsequential because they may have a role in a game here or a game there, but games are going to be won and lost, and a championship is going to be won and lost based upon what those 4 players do. So, and then we all know Tatum will win it over Brown, and we know Luka will win it over Kyrie. Mostly because one is considered Batman and the other is considered Robin. Any which way you cut it. And don't forget, the Robin on Dallas already has a ring. Luka doesn't. So I would imagine Luka will get all the accolades if he gets that first ring, as well he should here. But he doesn't do it if Kyrie's not on that team.
Right. No, he does not. So
nope.
Oh no, the price for Luka is probably around the series price. That price for Kyrie is absurdly high. Absurdly high.
It is.
Brown plus 450, Tatum even money. There ain't no planet anywhere that you could be able to get the Celtics to win a championship at anything less than minus 220. So, you pick one of those guys.
They're telling you who they're giving it to. Yeah.
Exactly.
If he plays, they're telling you they're going to give it to him. They're basically going to give it to him.
Right.
So
pretty much,
and don't forget, Brown didn't even make what was it? The all NBA team, right? I think he got snubbed. He wasn't even good enough to be considered for that team. And it was like, so what are we going to give you the MVP? Yeah, that ain't going to happen either here. But it won't hurt if he drops another 40 tonight here somewhere along the line and helps the Celtics close out the Pacers. Otherwise, that's going to be a long flight home, Dave, to your point earlier. If they have to go back knowing they got to play a game 5 back in their building, and then the possibility of Halliburton coming. I mean, can I make the argument that the Pacers may be better? Well, I don't say maybe, are better, certainly defensively without Halliburton?
Yes. I mean, whatever that's worth. Yeah, I mean, it is. And it's strange because now I don't want to say the offense is flowing a little better because it was good anyway, but it seems like it's a little more directed, right? It's either Nembhard or Siakam, and then the peripheral, everybody else.
Correct.
It's working. Yep. It has worked. I don't know. I don't want to say that, definitively, but listen, let's get another game. This would be fun for content. It would be fun for bettors.
Yes.
If the Celtics, lose tonight, you'll hear the talk that it's never happened before. Cam's coming in to join us. Who do you think Cam is on? I'm going to say he's on the Pacers plus the points, and I'm going to say he's on Edmonton money line. Those are the 2 plays for tonight. And 100%, he's going to take the Mariners in the baseball.
How much you want to bet that Edmonton scores before Cam gets on here? Because they are, I don't know, they should have 2 extra goals already in this one. It's been, I don't know how they just missed here, but Skinner also getting peppered. Yeah, and Skinner's getting peppered too. So maybe the over 5.5 is not a bad look here because Dallas at least is coming out with a little bit of fire here, Dave, I think, to say. And this could be the highest goal. What would that tell you, though, if you got both game 3s end up flying over the total in both of these championship series in which it wasn't even close in the first 2 series? So isn't it supposed to be harder to score as the series goes on? Not easier? Isn't that how it usually works?
It is, but I'm surprised by the lack of adjustment with the number.
Oh,
in basketball.
Big time.
6-0 Over. I mean, it can't be 6-0. We got 6 games and everyone went over. Some very comfortably over. You know, some 1 or 2 was the number was closer. But again, as the series lengthens, the numbers get better. It's a lot harder to pick a side in total in game 6 or 7 than it is in game 1 or 2 or 1 or 3, because that's when they switch venues. So I don't know. It'll be fascinating to me if it's Boston and Dallas, which obviously it's not a done deal officially, but that's going to be a fun series. And again, Celtics fans got to be a little worried. Dallas, I mean, you said they're the team to beat. Were you just saying that, or you really believe that?
They are the team to beat. I mean, they are without a team to beat. Listen, you said it at the very top of the broadcast. This should be 2-1 Indiana. If you play like this against Dallas, it would be 2-1 Dallas. It would not be. It would not be. You're not going to be pulling that against a team as experienced as Dallas. So let's just be realistic here. They're going to have to play better, but they also haven't been challenged yet. This is the biggest challenge they've had. So you can only win the games that are in front of you, but they certainly haven't been all that impressive. But I do think Porzingis changes that. So he's going to be a big factor in the finals if they can get there.
Rust off of that
there,
I
said it. If they can get there. There's a first time for everything. Just saying.
We salute the brave and courageous women and men serving in the United States military, protecting our freedom. Please take time this Memorial Day weekend to honor the memory and sacrifice of our military veterans and their loving families, and those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in their service to our nation.
How fragile are these guys? It's amazing. They're supposed to be the greatest athletes in the world, and yet they can't walk and chew gum at the same time without getting hurt, for goodness sakes.
That Trout injury really is a bummer too, because people thought he was going to have a big year. And I look, I don't feel bad for the Angels. I don't like Mike Trout in Anaheim. I thought he should have left when his contract was up.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
With the onset of NIL and the transfer portal, it is allowing players to develop further in college, and guys that would maybe be stuck on the bench at a power program and not have as much shine are having the ability to find themselves in the spotlight.
Lane Kiffin came out and said we need to get bigger and more physical in terms of the offensive defensive lines, and that's why he went out and recruited that talent.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. Like, and it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for. So I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships. So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live primetime here on the SportsGrid Network. It's getting a little chippy in Indiana as the Pacers maintain a 2-point lead here over the Boston Celtics, 69-67. In-game number 4.5, 224.5 there, Dave. And you want to talk about unbelievable. Give us the goal horn here. Give us the goal horn as the Dallas Mavericks. Robertson gets it done for Dallas here. Finds the back of the net, beats Skinner. Now a 2-1 Edmonton lead. And you'll never guess who was part of that. It looks like Rupe Hintz with the steal at center right, so was able to get it going. So his presence being felt again for Dallas here, Dave. And boy, does that change the numbers a little bit in this game now, doesn't it?
Not dead yet. That was enormous.
Oh,
that was enormous.
Yep.
I mean, Edmonton had the puck for 16 minutes in the first period. It's only 20 minutes in a period
correct.
for those of you that don't watch hockey or know that. And so far, we're watching the game along with you, and anybody can see that Edmonton's dominating. But like we saw again yesterday, the Rangers got dominated and hung around long enough and ended up winning the game. Man, if you're sitting there for Edmonton in that building especially, you've been sitting there partying for a period going,
That's
we
correct.
got this. Let's go. Now you're sitting like this, hands down, deep breaths going, uh-oh, can't let another goal.
That's what they
This
needed
is
to
what
happen.
We should be winning this game by 3. We're not.
Yep.
Joe. We got a hockey game. That's good. What's going on in the basketball game? You've been paying a little more attention to the hoop game.
They had 8. It's a 8-0 shots on goal advantage here for Dallas, including a goal. So they're doing exactly what Edmonton did to them in the first period. They are pretty much dominated here so far in the second. 13 minutes ago, they are in a 2-1 game. Glad we took that 2.5, though, Dave, when we had the shot. So pretty good stuff there. Back and forth we go here, and good to see Rupe Hintz back on the ice, obviously. 71 apiece now, Dave, is what we are looking at as back and forth they go. And this is what they do, right? So this is all, like we had said, going to come down to, can Indiana maintain the shooting percentages that they have right now? 42% from 3 in the game, only 37% for the Boston Celtics. But is it going to go away is the question here. Is Boston going to turn it up here as this game goes? We've got about 5.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. The Pacers had as much as a 5-point lead here at one point. That's evaporated. The in-game total is 224.5. It just feels like the Celtics are going to figure this out, do one of these 15-1 runs, 15-2 runs, and that's going to be the all she wrote for Indiana. Give them credit, though.
Yeah. You said it
Still,
out loud.
nobody at the free throw line.
I was thinking it.
No
I feel
free
like
throws.
you could just look right into the bubble in my head, what was going on in my head. I was like, as long as the Celtics hang around and hang around and hang around like this, this is when you know it's they're just going to win. It's 4.5 now. Got down to 1.5 when the Celtics are trailing by 6. So I still am waiting for the first opportunity to see the Celtics as a dog, because I know what that's like when you're sitting there and you're doing the game and you're taking bets on the bet ticker and you're like, this guy's waiting. Like, I'd be like, all right, I know Foster is sitting there watching the game, waiting to just take the Celtics plus money. Vinny, same way. Front runner guy like Vinny, watching the game going, I'm taking the Celtics. I'm taking the Celtics, but I'm going to wait till you make them a dog. That's what everybody's doing.
Yes.
That's what everybody's
doing.
Only had, what's the total?
Have we only had one power play in this game so far?
The total
is that all
is
we've
back
had?
On the number. It's right back at 222.5 or 223.5. Wow.
It's never gotten higher than 226.5. So it's not going to get any higher than that as long as they keep going these stretches back and forth. Again, they're telling you, expect that. And the Celtics are only hitting what? 36%. They're 9 of 25 from 3. This number would have already ballooned to the 230s if the Celtics were actually making some of the threes that they are chucking up right now, and they keep missing them. But we already know Indiana is not going to be a great three-point shooting team. They're going to get a lot of their stuff in the paint. And we got some fouls, too, that you got to worry about now. Holiday's already got 3 of them now. It looks like also there was one other guy. Oh, Turner. Miles Turner's also got 3 here. So they got to be careful. They're not picking up the 4th fouls here with still 5 minutes to go in the third. And you got to be careful with that as as the clock keeps ticking. But they are hanging around. The question is, When is Tatum or somebody going to take control of this right now? And Tatum's got 19. He's got to get to 29 and a half, Dave. I think we said the 29 and a half was his point total. Needs
30,
11 more.
Yeah.
Let's go. Somebody better get him.
So I asked you last segment, what would you rather do if you were the Celtics?
Oh.
I said win it on the road because I want the plane ride home with the boys. I think the plane ride home as the Eastern Conference champions would be a lot of fun. If you're the Pacers, it's inevitable. You're going to lose. You lose. Would you rather lose tonight at home or win it tonight and then go to Boston, lose at Boston, and have to fly back to Indiana with the season over? What'd you rather do, Joe?
No, I want it over tonight. And I don't care. I'm not interested in style points. I want this game over. Although Obi Toppin making it very difficult here for that to happen as he comes in, chucks up a three. Obi Toppin now a half a point away from going over his point prop here. But hey, listen, guys off the bench are doing it here for the Pacers. We're still waiting for. I know, still waiting. Derek White too, by the way, is he even playing? Where has he been? Somebody's got to step up here for the Celtics if they're going to get this done. Who will it be? Because I can tell you right now, they haven't made a three in about 5 minutes. And we got ourselves a tie game. Wow. 2-2. Dallas.
We salute the brave and courageous women and men serving in the United States military, protecting our freedom. Please take time this Memorial Day weekend to honor the memory and sacrifice of our military veterans and their loving families, and those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in their service to our nation.
How fragile are these guys? It's amazing. They're supposed to be the greatest athletes in the world, and yet they can't walk and chew gum at the same time without getting hurt, for goodness sakes.
That Trout injury really is a bummer too, because people thought he was going to have a big year. And I look, I don't feel bad for the Angels. I don't like Mike Trout in Anaheim. I thought he should have left when his contract was up.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
With the onset of NIL and the transfer portal, it is allowing players to develop further in college, and guys that would maybe be stuck on the bench at a power program and not have as much shine are having the ability to find themselves in the spotlight.
Lane Kiffin came out and said we need to get bigger and more physical in terms of the offense and defensive lines, and that's why he went out and recruited that talent.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. Like, and it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for. So I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships. So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
Well, that got out of hand in a hurry, didn't it? My goodness. Yet another goal by Dallas. Dallas now with 3 unanswered second period goals to take a 3-2 lead here. They've taken 3 goals here, Dave, in 3 minutes and, man, somebody's got to go play this. 3 goals in 3 minutes and 33 seconds of the in the second period. That is
was the number? Yeah.
3 goals in 3 minutes and 33 seconds. But here's the thing. We're halfway through the second. Edmonton doesn't have a shot on goal. Like, not one shot on goal in the second period yet here. You talked about them dominating the first period. What do you consider what Dallas is doing right now?
Dallas may be winning the series right now. With the way they're playing this period, this is all, I mean, we use that term, the ice is tilted. The ice is a mountain, and it's going one way, slanted completely down to everything's running right to the Edmonton net. This is crazy. In Edmonton, the way Dallas is taking this game over. I got to give you credit. You got Dallas plus 2.5, and we were laughing during the break. You got plus 2.5 when it was 2-0, right? They jumped it up to 2.5. Now, normally that's 1.5 shot. You don't give away the 2.5, and you grabbed it, and now it's 3-2. Do you have any thoughts of taking a 1.5 with Edmonton at this point?
Oh, you already know I did, because we're that kind of gluttonous here. How often do you get this kind of middle opportunity in an NHL game like this? We're talking here. We can't believe they're not moving the numbers in the NBA game. The books are just, they're staying steadfast. And yet in the NHL, they have gone absolutely bonkers here by just overreacting in the first period, where as if this was all of a sudden going to be an 8-0 run by Edmonton. It is the Western Conference Finals, Dave. I don't get the overreaction with the NHL, the quick goals there.
It's been doing it all season. It's been the in-game stuff has been. We talk about it all the time. Me and Wetzel, me and Peralt, me and you. The number, it's one goal, and it's so it doubles the closing price, or it's sometimes more. And then when it's 2 goals, it becomes like there's no chance to come back, which we know when we've done it now all season with Cam. He'll come on in that last segment right here before and say, this team's down 2-0. It's time to bet them. It played to perfection right now with this third period. When we wake up tomorrow, Dallas is ahead 2-1. What do you think? You think they hold on and win tonight?
Where did the Edmonton team go we just watched in the first period? Where is that?
Oh, no.
Did that team leave the building? Because this doesn't look even remotely close. How can you have that kind of crazy swing of just absolute ineptitude by Edmonton after coming out like they did to start the game? So, but I don't get it. I absolutely do not get it. But we do have a couple of good games going on here right now. Top of the hour, Cam Stewart, Gabe Morency will take over here, but it is plus 1.5, minus 175, 180 for the Oilers. 7.5 here, Dave, is the total. Is this thing flying over?
Yeah. I just looked at it.
It has to. Right?
My joint got 8.5 here. It just flipped to 7.5. They were watching. That's crazy. Literally just what it was 8.5. Literally was just 8.5. I was looking at the Mariners and Astros because the Mariners got the bases loaded. They already got a run, and Houston's going to be trailing. So if you want to pull the move where Houston's down and you take them plus money in the first inning, you'll be able to do that as well. Joe, I ain't going to see you tomorrow. Florida Panthers winning game 2 against the Rangers, or game 4 against the Rangers.
I'll be there, Dave. So I will
Bring
let
home,
you know
Joe.
how that's working for you. All right. So we'll be at the game tomorrow there, Dave. So I'll call into in-game live for us tomorrow there and give you a report, let you know what's happening. Good. All right. So we can go from there.
Thank you.
In the meantime, Cam Stewart, Gabe Morency coming up next. They will have you the rest of the way. We'll see you again tomorrow. Cash those tickets, folks. In-game live, prime time on the grid. Let's go Panthers.